The Remnant Expedition in No Man's Sky is both a super interesting concept and a bit tedious at times. Absolutely love the whole sticking to a single planet thing and paying attention to the micro, not the macro.
Nice. Small is good. I've been telling people for years.
How'd he get in? Anyway, trudging to and from waste heaps gets a little tedious after a while, but fear not, dear traveller, for I've got a whole bunch of tips and advice to save you a whole lot of time and effort in this expo. As this expedition takes place on a single planet with no access to space, and that is true even if you find your ship, you can't fix it, you won't be able to access the anomaly and so cannot pick up any items you left yourself from the save you started its expedition from. So unfortunately there's no good list of items to bring for this one. Before you get hold of your Colossus, you'll need to craft a few things and install a thing or two. You're going to need a bunch of ferrite dust, 500 should do. You'll need more after, but you can use a Colossus mining beam for that. You'll want some carbon for fuel, a few hundred should do. There's an emerald deposit to the west of the waste processing plant. You'll want at least 300. Right by that is some pyrite. You'll want just 25 of that. Lastly, be sure to grab some oxygen. Refining that with the cobalt you are awarded initially will give you the ionized cobalt you'll need for 3 magnetic resonators, and you'll want to refine the pyrite with ferrite dust for the 25 paraffinium to build the Colossus Geo Bay. While getting those initial resources, I'd recommend sorting Patrology, which requires you to scan 8 minerals. This rewards a basic pulse splitter setup, which is useful for dealing with the Sentinel milestones. There are 2 in the cave by where you start, the stalactite and mites. There are 2 very small ones. There's one that looks like a double pillar, another that is just a huge boulder, one that looks like a big tree, and another that looks a bit like a huge termite mound or something. There may be another 1 or 2 in the dark patches on the planet, but these listed above are all very close to the starting spot. After obtaining and installing your pulse splitter setup, getting Streetlights out of the way is a good shout. It requires you to collect 32 Gravitino balls. Picking one up will alert the Sentinels and give an immediate 3-star rating, so you may as well get all of your Gravitino balls at once. Focus a milestone or count how many you pick up, as the milestone won't obviously complete when in combat, so it doesn't accidentally get you killed. There are a whole bunch of huge Gravitino patches by the starting point, so you won't have issue popping to each one. They are marked via the double gold star icon in the analysis visor. Use that 3-star rating you just got from getting your Gravitino balls to destroy 7 of these Sentinels that appear. Drone disposal requires 8, and you can get the 8th now if you want, but we'll get the last one shortly when completing Reorientation Programme. Reorientation Programme requires you to forcibly move 32 Sentinels. This is incredibly tedious, so we're going to somewhat cheese it. Dig a tunnel longish with a curve, something that Sentinels would have a bit of trouble flying through to get to you. You can also use the big cave by the processing plant. Once you have your Gravitino coil, find a Sentinel. Pick an extra Gravitino ball if you need to attract their attention. Use a Gravitino coil to grab one of the Sentinels. This poor little fella is going to get bullied pretty badly by us, 32 times to be exact. He has only HG to blame. Take the Sentinel to the cave or hole you dug and face the wall with a little space between you. Now forcibly shoot the Sentinel at the wall, then grab it again. Keep doing this 32 times to complete the milestone. Then put it out of its misery to finish off drone disposal. Lay waste is a passive milestone. You could actively just run things through once you've installed the excavation blade on your Colossus, but you just don't need to. Instead, make sure you complete auto mechanics early by saving and naming a configuration in the Colossus customizer when you apply the flatbed. Claim the rewards and build it right away, then just complete other things and it'll complete as you travel. Don't worry about saving a fauna for Safari, which asks you to scan a fauna from an exocraft. I tested this, and if you scan all 6 fauna on the planet on foot, it will complete Safari, as if it didn't, you'd be permanently blocked from completing it. So feel free to scan all those creatures, you can pretty much get them all immediately. The other fauna related milestone that doesn't involve smashing into them at speed is Field Guide. This requires you to find all of the creatures on the planet. The thing to note here is that it won't complete once you've scanned the final fauna. You have to collect the reward for scanning all 6 in the discovery menu, the one above the fauna list that gives nanites. Claiming that will complete Field Guide. Now we get to the real meat of the video. How the hell do you drive a Colossus correctly so that you don't shoot your load all over the place and rage when you clean it up. There is 100% a knack to driving the Colossus with a full load of waste. It's all about having confidence and knowing when to pull off the accelerator. Primarily, you will shoot your load everywhere when you go over little bumps or try to smash into knobbly plants. You are a sensitive guy, and it doesn't take much to set you off. When you see a bump in the land that is somewhat abrupt, then simply hold back on the accelerator and let your Colossus cruise over them, all stable and whatnot. It's just like turning a corner in a racing game. You slow down as you approach, and there's a sweet spot where you have mostly turned, where you slam the accelerator to smoothly bring yourself back up to speed, without spinning out. This is just like that, except you accelerate again once the back of your Colossus is about as high as it's going to get, driving over the hump. Other than this, choosing your route as you go, there's almost always a smooth route to be had without having to slow down and lose time. A hump can be taken at speed if you approach it from the side with a super shallow angle. Also note that turning, even at speed, will almost never actually cause any issue for your load. So turning through that smooth, tight route in front of you will often be the good way. Sadly, there will always be times where, say, you lose control and blow it everywhere. My load even flew into a deep dark hole on this one. The checkpoint and road trip milestones will try to have you naturally do them the long, winding and tedious way, but you can save a stupid amount of time with these. The first thing to note is that the road trip milestones don't have to be done consecutively. You can save them all up and complete all 5 with only 5 special waste. This is important to know, as it means you don't have to drive all the way back between visiting each checkpoint. Next is that checkpoints appear to give you the next closest waste heap that you haven't yet been to. I did my first 3 from the processing facility, and the first was about 6 minutes away, second 7, next 8, etc. However, when I searched for number 4 at the third, it gave me one 2 minutes away. Now, it's not worth doing all 5 then returning a single time, as there are 3 milestones that require you to collect 16 of each of the special waste types, and doing that from not waste heap spots would take forever. I would recommend instead driving to the first, pick up a load, then scan for the second and drive to that. Remove any non-special ones and add the special waste types from heap 2 to your Colossus. Then drive that very full load back. Using non-special ones on top of the special to help it stay on the back from the first to the second could work, but I can't say for sure. Depending how full your Colossus is, you could also potentially do 3 in a row, then the final 2, giving you a total of 2 to 3 trips back to the main facility. You may still need some driving to complete the 50,000 U of Colossus driving for mileage, but that would be far quicker to do on an empty Colossus where you can boost without worry. Inventory management is always an issue in expeditions, but Remnant has it worse than most, as you rarely, if ever, get the chance to sell items. This is especially hellish in the beginning before you get to your Colossus. The Colossus has a lot of slots, so it's not so bad, but even then, don't claim the rewards from milestones unless you need them. For instance, one reward is a nutrient ingester and some cakes. Sounds good, right? But putting the cake in the ingester just helps against cold hazards, of which you already have an upgrade for. Another milestone rewards an assortment of cakes, but all they do is boost flora scan rewards. None really useful for completing the expedition. So until you've completed Road Trip 4 and got the trade rocket, be careful what you claim. If you have any tips I haven't mentioned here, please mention them in the comments. There will definitely be people who'll read and benefit from them. A little bonus tip is to probably turn multiplayer off. Check out one of these videos next. Peace.
Whoa, hey, it's called a reversey, not a micro.